Hello, am I audible? Hello.
Yes, audible.
Okay, okay.
Hi, is there anybody from the team?
Hello. Yes, yes, yes. Good evening,
Hi,
everyone.
Kalpesh sir. How are you?
Fine, fine. Thank you.
Yeah. Can I please just see whether my PPT will be
Yes,
shared
yes.
or not?
Hardik, sir, please. Hello. So we have Dr. Hardik, faculty coordinator of Legal Service Authority,
Right.
Legal Service Committee at GNLU. Hardik, sir, please make her co-host and presenter. Yes, please check. You please kindly check it out. PPT.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm checking. Allow me a minute, please.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, is it visible? Like the PPT you can see now?
PPT now.
Okay.
You have to choose that PPT. Right now we are seeing our screen.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing.
Actually, my laptop is connected to the big screen, so I might have to disconnect.
Okay. Yuvraj, are you there? Yuvraj?
Kalpesh, it will take, allow me like 2 minutes. It will take some time. Yeah.
Yeah, no, no problem.
Good evening, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes. Please speak louder. Hello.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Okay, okay, sure, sure. Sir, inform me when to start. So, good evening, participant. We'll be starting in a couple of minutes as soon as our resource person confirms.
Kalpesh ji, am I still there?
Yes, yes, you are there. Yes, we can see you.
Allow me like 2 minutes. I have to change my system. There's some issue happening because of the technical glitch. I'll join back.
Okay. All you can send me a PPT if you want. So I'll run from my side.
No, no, that I will present or I can share also. That won't be an issue.
Okay, no problem. You can join in a couple of minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Allow me 2 minutes. Okay, can anybody tell me whether my screen is visible, the PPT?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
All right, thank you so much.
No, okay, we can start. Yuvraj, over to you.
Yeah, sure.
So, good evening, everyone. I am Yuvraj Singh, a first year law student at IILM University. As moderator, I welcome you all to the sixth day of the fifth edition of online short-term course on legal aid and allied laws organized by Pro Bono India in collaboration with Pro Bono Club GNLU Gandhinagar. Today, we will discussing the crucial role of community engagement and legal aid in promoting social justice and empowering marginalized communities. Also, we will explore the intersection of law, community service, and social responsibility, highlighting the importance of legal aid in creating positive social change. For the same, I am privileged to introduce our esteemed guest speaker, Dr. Yukti Kumar, ma'am. Ma'am is an assistant dean for the Office of Vice Dean for the Clinical Legal Education and a lecturer at Jindal Global Law School. Earlier, she has also served as an assistant professor at RV University, Bangalore. With her strong background in clinical legal education, Ma'am has worked extensively on the community service and institution building initiatives. Her research interest lies in clinical courses, community service, and institution buildings. She holds an LLM in General Legal Studies from Jindal Global Law School. Currently, she is pursuing part-time PhD on analyzing the role of legal aid assistance for under-trial prisoners. Ma'am has received numerous awards for her outstanding contribution to social service and community engagement. After the completion of the lecture, we will also have a short question answer session. So be ready with your questions. Now I would like to hand over the session to ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Yuvraj. Allow me a minute. I will again reshare my PPT.
Yes, ma'am.
Yuvraj, can you please see whether my PPT is visible?
No, not right now, ma'am.
Okay. What
Yes,
about
ma'am.
my... Okay, perfect. So finally, I have resolved this technical glitch. Sorry for that. So before I start, I would like to thank Dr. Kalpesh Kumar Gupta sir for providing me an opportunity again to share my concern within the field that I am basically working since so long. So while I was a student at Jindal, since those days I am involved in clinical legal education, and through this course today, through this short course today, I will try to share my concern with you, also try to learn, unlearn, and relearn from all of you as well. So feel free to interrupt me anywhere you want, or else we have already kept a Q&A in the end. I am happy to share or maybe look for your questions and your views and thoughts. Yeah. So I'll start now. So today's topic will be community engagement and legal aid. Yeah. So to start this course, I would like to basically say what is community engagement and why should you care or why should we care as a society? That is a very important question because before legal aid, I believe the community engagement takes place. And so basically, the course is any course for that matter in the clinical legal education department. Why is that course there? Can you just give it a thought? uh, it is there basically to provide a student to like a theory with practice, so that we'll be able to not just only give them a classroom learning but also provide them a space where they'll be able to do first hand experience and to understand the challenges and needs of the society and try to address the loopholes or gaps in the existing laws and policies from the legal point of view. So in my opinion, I always say this to my students also, like even if you are not able to understand provide the solutions to the loopholes or the gaps which you are able to see, that is fine. But if you are able to understand the laws policies well, and on the ground level what is happening, on the grassroots level what is happening, and if you are able to reconnect, or maybe if you are able to address those issues, that will anyways a very good opportunity by the clinical legal education department when we understand community engagement per se. And to do so, there are so many people who are already working since so long in many ways. Like there are stakeholders, community members, influencers, NGOs, government authorities, etc., lawyers, judges, and all of us for that matter. And for me, while working in the clinical legal education through community engagement and legal aid, and to basically serve any sort of course or an elective, the major concern which is always there in my mind is people who are already facing a lot on ground. What if one day one unfortunately any of our student or a faculty member for that matter who is not trained enough to understand the community, or not trained enough to go on field and ask a very harsh question to a community who is already facing a lot, that will not be a very good scenario for that matter. That's why I chose this topic, community engagement, so that we'll be able to see what all questions are very much necessary to deal with before going on ground, why there is a need to start this whole or maybe there's a recommendation that I would like to drop out here, that there is a need that we should be having a specific subject in the law school which merely deals with the community engagement in terms of legal aid, because legal aid will be coming to that as well later on. So, understanding community engagement refers to active participation in governance, yes, then policy making, of course, and legal processes. So, their engagement is very much necessary, ensures marginalized groups have a voice in social, economic, and legal decisions. Because uh, to put this across, okay, law should be inclusive of masses, but unfortunately, people are excluded from law. I will prove this statement by going further, so just stay on that. Legal involvement in engagement. To just give you one example, when I say Gram Sabha for that matter, there's a Panchayati Raj Act, and in every state we have Panchayati Raj Act. I am in Haryana right now, so I would say Haryana Panchayati Raj Act. But whenever I go in any of the village and I ask whether like is there a Gram Sabha happening in your village still, or do you know what is there in the act, or what do you do in Gram Sabha, or is there like a women participation in Gram Sabha, what is GPDP, Gram Panchayat Development Plan? So they are clueless about all this. And so why are we making these laws? And these laws are made for whom? My question is that. Then PILs, of course, I know all of you have already read how to file a PIL or how to draft a PIL, but my point is, uh, for the rural population specifically, they cannot afford, or maybe sometimes they don't know is the different scenario, and even if they know, then the procedure is so like difficult or complex for that matter, that they'll not be able to do it in such a difficult scenario. Then legal aid clinics in itself, if you see the name of the legal aid clinic or the district legal service authority, for an example, in Hindi we used to say Jila Vidik Seva Pradhikaran. No matter in whatever language you say, they will not be knowing. When I say they, I mean the communities, and this is coming from my own experience while working in 10 villages in Sonipat, Haryana, and now in Karnataka as well, in Bangalore. So yeah, so these are some of the challenges which I found, to put it across. So why does it matter? For the effective community participation to strengthen the democracy and ensure laws serve people. When I say effective citizen participation, I just do not mean that people who are here in the lecture, for that matter. Everyone will be listening, of course, but whosoever will be able to grasp more, or maybe they'll be able to engage, I would say that is called as effective citizen participation. Just mere participation is not suffice, for that matter. So now we'll be dealing with the interdisciplinary approach to community engagement. When I say this, I believe coming from the law background does not only mean that we are the only ones who can provide assistance to the communities. We can provide legal assistance by drafting RTIs, PIs, by letting them know the procedure, by drafting letters. But there are other people also. Why am I saying this? Because right now we are in a university setup, and all of you are students, as I can see, most of you, and like coming from the academic background. So in the academic background also we have different disciplines, including computer science, business, design, media. So all of them can also take place, and it should be a interdisciplinary approach, because community is not just somebody, like something for the law people. How they can do it? Maybe a business school student can go in the community and make them understand about the small scale businesses, and maybe make them aware what are the provisions and how they can start, or how they can do their own business. For the computer science student, they can basically train them in the technology and administration. Then for the design school students, there's a infrastructure issue. So many infrastructural problems are there in the villages that they can dealt with. So there are different interdisciplinary approaches that can be dealt via community engagement. Now I'm moving to one of the fundamental provisions. I would say the most fundamental provisions, the guarantee of life. I say this, a dignified life. Can we say that? Yes. And when we say to secure a dignified human existence for everyone, don't you feel it looks like a fiction? Because to me, sometimes, not sometimes, most of the times, specifically when I am going for my field visit, whenever I am working on any project, whenever I see something very bad, then I feel okay, it looks like a fiction to me on that, on those scenario. Because on paper I can see we have a dignified, we have a like fundamental right, uh, but consider how real are they. I'm not saying things have not been changed, don't take me wrong, but I'm saying, why does it why does it take a lot of time, but still things are not moving faster? And I would say, like, just give it a thought, because these provisions sometimes looks like a fiction to me and not real. If those fictions, those provisions are not real, not in fiction, then I'll show you some examples. Then anybody can give me any like reply for that matter. Why is it not happening? So, what is it that we can do for making these provisions real for masses? So, okay, I am saying these provisions are not looking real to me at certain times. Then, what can we do as a faculty, as a student, as a lawyer, or as a human being for that matter? That also we have to understand. There has to be inclusion of masses, as I've already discussed. So, also with regards to that, I would say if you are a student and you did your law, considering me, like I'll consider myself here. If I'm a student and I have pursued law, then I should not have pursued law just for myself, for my livelihood, for my job per se. I have to pursue law for masses, for my driver, for a conductor, for house help, and for everyone for that matter. So that should be a notion, because law is not something that like other disciplines that you can just think of. And here are the some of the main factors of community engagement, which are the most important factors. To work with rural citizens, to work with real people, not something just on paper, but you will be meeting so many people on ground. And there has to be a set of values and skills associated when you are going to communities. And the major skill, that value that I would say, will be belongingness. Belongingness, why? Because I believe if you are not able to create that sense in the community that you belong to them and they belong to you, no matter what, how much good skills you have in terms of like legal skills, in terms of professionalism, in terms of speaking skills, no matter what, they will not be able to speak their heart out, or maybe they'll not be able to even tell you their concerns for that matter. And it's not a game of like 1 day or 1 hour or a few visits. It take years to create that trust in the communities, and trust me when I'm saying this. Now, learning by doing, as we have discussed, the major clinical legal education, the motto of community engagement, or the subject or an elective for that matter, is to provide them the students to go on to provide them an opportunity to go on ground and to learn by doing that, so that they'll be able to understand more the community by working with the community members and not by helping them. Because that's a very wrong notion, that people might be thinking, okay, we'll be helping somebody, or okay, we'll be helping the community. How will we be able to help the community, or how will you or I can help someone? Like, just keep all these thoughts, we can discuss it while Q&A. And effective participation, we have already discussed. Mobilization is one of the part when we do community engagement. Now, what are the barriers to community engagement is, according to the latest National Sample Survey Office NSSO data, only 24% of rural Indian households have access to the internet, making it difficult for the rural population to access legal resources digitally. And this is one of the concerns, yes, very much. I'm coming with the data here. Also, there are other barriers to community engagement, and one of them is language and literacy barrier. Legal documents in complex language, which is itself very like alienate common citizens. They are not able to understand such complex language. So there's a need of someone. When we say, okay, provisions are not working, things are not working, then what? Then it has to work. And how will it be working? If we will be able to understand, okay, what is lacking and how the barrier is there, and how can we resolve those issues. So this is one of them. Then social and cultural barrier, gender, caste and class division impact participation, that you will be able to see in all the communities, in all the villages throughout. So technological gaps are there, as we have already discussed as per the data. Then institutional barriers, when we have discussed about like the name of the DLSA for that matter, for an example. Now, other challenges that one can come across while doing community service or a community engagement will be language barrier. I am from Uttar Pradesh. I know Hindi. Now I know, like, of course, I'll be knowing English. when I was in Karnataka, I was trying to understand or learn Kannada. While being in Haryana, I have to know Haryanvi little bit. So while dealing with the community, this is some sort of barrier, but to me personally, it wasn't a barrier at all, because I always believe if you want to do something anyways, ultimately you'll be able to ending up doing it. You have to learn for those matter whenever you have to understand another person's concern and try to provide them the legal assistance for that matter. So consistency is one of the major barrier that I feel. Uh, we we start with something very big, but not being consistent enough in our field visits, or maybe in our drafting work, or maybe anything for that matter, then we lack there. Then institutional commitment, because I know all of us are in the academic setup, and this is not just one thing that we have to do throughout the semester or throughout the year, but this again comes from within, and institutional commitments also take place if you have more support from your institution, like administrative side. Then sustainability, whatever project you think, or maybe you are trying to do, think of it in a very whether it will be sufficing, or maybe whether it will be sustaining in the longer run or not. Tangible benefits, those are community members, those are people who are staying in village. And if I am going there like every week, and I'm not able to provide them uh, results in a very short time span, I think at certain point of time they will lose interest, or maybe they'll not trust me. For that matter, there's a need that we should be giving tangible benefits, that too in a very short span of time. Very small things gets counted. For an example, if you can assist people in getting their citizenship card made, just for an example, family card made, or for an example, you can draft certain things for them, draft a letter and send it to the higher officials to get things done, so that they'll be able to understand, okay, we know things, and it's like it's doable. Or if not that, then I would say there's a complex act like Haryana Panchayati Raj Act, for that matter. You can bring some of the provisions in a very simpler language, maybe in the form of a sketches, or maybe in some tabular form, and you can share those documents in their own language, so that it will be easier for them to just go through and they can familiarize themselves. Then a perspective that those are village people and they don't know anything, so that is a very wrong mindset, I believe. uh, so that should not be there. uh, and I would also say one more thing which wasn't there in this slide. When we are going to the village, those people are like very much welcoming in every time. But whenever they are coming to our college or university, you understand this from that notion, where am I coming from. They will be stopped at the gate only, and they'll be like, okay, to whom you have to meet, do you have an appointment, do you have this, do you have that. Because when we are going, we are just entering their village, entering their house, they are so welcoming. So just see that difference. uh, so here the values and skills will also come in picture. Now the problem in implementation of community engagement policies, uh, local government often fail to ensure participation, as we all might have seen while dealing with so many policies, schemes, and different scenarios. Legal aid lawyers underpaid, leading to poor quality representation. This is one why I'm saying this. This is coming from my own basically conversation with lot many district legal service authority lawyers, and I was trying to understand for my some of my study for different projects, and I got to understand that they get a very low pay, that too like not at the very like at the right time. So there are delays in their payment. This is what the story from their side, like the legal aid lawyers. As per NHRC report, almost half of the rural citizens unaware of free legal aid rights. This is coming from the NHRC report as well. Then bribery in public welfare schemes discourages engagement. Yes, that is why also there's a lack of implementation. Limited outreach and accessibility, we have already discussed. Now I'll be showing you one of the case which I have showed you before also. Here, when we say Bihar school meal poisoning, this is one of the case where funds were misused and students have actually eaten uh, their midday meal. Within that midday meal, there was a pesticide. So due to that, people have died. So if you can see that we have provision, whether that dignified life is working or not working, all of you have to take a call. I have give a question mark on that. So now, role of law, school and community engagement, legal aid clinic in universities. These clinic help marginalized communities access justice while offering a student practical legal experience that we have discussed. Awareness programs and legal literacy camps. These camps use interactive sessions, case studies, and simplified legal documents to make complex law more accessible. Now, the proposed reform is to basically to ensure structured engagement. Law school should introduce a mandatory community legal aid course where students participate in real world legal aid work and not just going there for the for putting some legal awareness camp. Let's go beyond awareness. Okay, we have to do a lot of awareness still, because I started my session by saying that we don't know the name of the DLSA. So there is a need of awareness, but let's go a step further. Why I'm saying this, I would like to say that BCI has its own mandate to have their curriculum. Within that curriculum, there is no specific mention of legal aid as a subject. There's a mention of professional ethics, ADR, but no legal aid. For this matter, if there's no legal aid, and at the same time, contrary to this, whenever a new law school is getting established and there is no legal aid for that matter, then they will not be able to basically give you a compliance report, or they will not be able to start your law school itself. It's that sort of important. So if that's sort of important, then why aren't we actually having something substantial in the curriculum itself, so that students will, it will also be helpful, because sometimes the students and faculties want to engage in all these work, but we do not have time because of our doctrinal courses. So it will be an opportunity for that matter. Now some of you will say, okay, we have elective courses for that matter, but still there is a notion that if something is there in the curriculum and something is uh, there for the elective per se, or maybe some additional courses are there, and that too not for the students from the first year itself, because as per the BCI, third year student or the final year student shall be a part of the legal aid. But I would like to make a submission here that if students can be involved from the very first year in the legal aid, that will give them a better perspective, and not to just make them a member of legal aid to go on ground and do some awareness activities, but also it is a need of an hour to train those students before sending them on ground. It's harsh reality, because I started my session with that. Now, loopholes and gaps, inadequate legal aid resources. Bar Council of India in the report 2023 said one legal aid lawyer for 30,000 people in rural India is provided. Now, you take a call whether it suffice or not. In my opinion, it's not. So, lack of enforcement. Laws exist, but implementation is poor. Yes, limited access to PILs, expensive litigation limits marginalized communities from filing PILs. No matter what, okay, we can basically help them in drafting, we can understand the procedure. But when it comes to community engagement, or when it comes to serving the communities for that matter, this is a very good tool, I would say. but at the same time, there are certain restrictions for that matter. So delays in justice, cases in National Legal Service Authority, we all have seen cases takes a lot of time. Example, Unnao rape case in 2017, where delay in legal it showed up gaps in victim protection. So they say like, uh, delayed justice is denied justice, so there's no meaning left to it. So these are some of the important provisions when it comes to legal aid in India. Article 14, Article 21, Article 39A. I hope like all of you know about this, and I'll not go more into the articles because this is always available, but my concern is to share that no matter we have these articles, no matter we have Legal Service Authority Act 1987, now we have certain other provisions of CRPC or BNSS, but at the same time, what are we doing of these provisions, or how are these provisions actually catering the source? So what are the practical relevance of legal aid? It is very much there for under trial prisoners. Legal aid plays a crucial role for justice in overcrowded jails. Then, women and children, it helps protect domestic abuse and child rights cases. For land disputes and labor rights, it provides free legal aid supports exploited workers. Then, by providing legal aid assistance, filing petitions, and ensuring access to justice, legal aid organizations help vulnerable populations. So these are the this is the framework which we have. Issue in legal aid system, the Supreme Court noted that many under trial remain imprisoned for years due to ineffective legal aid services, calling for urgent reforms to ensure fair representation. When I say this, there are so many like cases that you will be able to see. Hussein Ara Khatun starting from there, and quality of representation is not there. Quality legal aid lawyers often do not prioritize cases due to low remuneration. So while doing my one of my survey, I got to understand this is one of the problem, that their pay is not enough. At the same time, this is also there, like the quality of the legal aid counsel or the panel aid lawyer for that matter is is not that great. So we should be thinking on those lines as well, and not just providing legal aid lawyer just for the paper per se. So limited outreach, rural India lacks legal aid clinics, yes. Underfunding, so government has to work on this. Government legal aid budget is insufficient. This is what coming from the own experience while talking to the many of the lawyers. And even if the government is having sufficient fund for this, but then why is it not working? We are still in the dilemma of uh, catering to like legal aid camps, or maybe to generate awareness. That also we are not able to do properly and effectively. So solutions for improving legal aid: mandatory training for law students and faculty members, to basically go on field and then work. Then increased funding is one of the submissions. Use of technology, AI based legal aid platform to offer free consultation. This could be one of the initiatives that we have also seen in Delhi High Court initiative, using AI chatbots for automated administrative tasks, so that to fasten the process basically. Then the pro bono culture is very important. Bar Council must mandate pro bono services from top lawyers, because uh, coming from like corporate background or from the law firms, or a very well established senior lawyer, they can do some pro bono cases from their own will, and if not, then bar council should do something about it. So role of PIL in community engagement, which allows individual to seek justice for larger social issues, and bridges a gap between legal rights and real enforcement, which we have seen in MC Mehta versus Union of India to strengthen environmental laws. So there are different cases which has actually established a jurisprudence behind that subject. So that is one of the reason that PIL is a very effective tool. And the practical relevance of PIL, it is strengthens democracy and rule of law, giving voice to the voiceless, checking government inaction and corruption, raising public awareness and media attention. But that too, um, for the rural section of the society, or for the marginalized section of the society, we still have to work on many ways to get the better outcomes of PIL. Now, how to interact with the community members is one of the major thing. Communication with sincerity should be there while dealing with the community members. Be mindful of the questions that you ask from the community members. Try listening to them and not just say your own things and be like, no, no, I know the most, because that is happening nowadays. So build their trust in you, as we have already discussed. Do not provide false commitments that we will be doing this, we'll be doing that, we'll get this done for you, that done for you. No, just try to understand things and work. Do not give any false hopes, false commitments, because those are the real people. These are not hypotheticals that we are dealing in classes. So just be mindful of that. Don't give them the notion that you are helping them, because there is no such word exists, at least in my dictionary, to help somebody. Who am I to help someone? Maybe you can assist them in many ways that we have discussed. Be mindful of the language, body postures, behavior while doing any of your field visits or while dealing with the community members. Note down all the points, because I believe some of you might be thinking these are very simple points, but let me take all of you a step back. If things were moving, or if things were so brilliantly working, then why are we here? Why am I giving you lecture on this? There should not be a need of this. But yes, we know things are not good. That's why let's take a step back, let's go to our basics and start from the very beginning. Do not record them without obtaining their permission. Don't make decisions on their behalf. Do not provide false information at all. So these are some of the key takeaways that you can uh, take basically while dealing with the communities or society or village members in large. Now, a strong legal aid system ensures real community engagement. Key focus areas could be improving funding and accessibility of legal aid, yes, increasing awareness and participation through PILs, strengthening law school involvement in legal aid, and I would say effective legal aid for that matter, because a just society can only be achieved when legal rights are not just promises but realities for all. It should not look like a fiction, it should be a reality, because it's for real, it's for real masses, it's for real provisions, it's for real act for that matter. So I had worked in this field because some of the issues have actually bothered me. So I'm showing you some of the pictures which were very old, so to just give you some better idea. So this is a sanitation drive along with the shramdan that we used to do in the government schools. Now some of you can take up in a project in old age homes. There's a senior citizen act, and whether that act is working well. This is one of the picture from the old age home in Sonipat. Now, legal literacy camps that we were discussing. Here in legal literacy camp, to be honest with you, I was the one who was speaking in my first legal literacy camp, and till the 50th legal literacy camp, I was the one who was just speaking. But after so much of years, after spending so much of time in the communities, then people used to just sit down with me and they were trying to uh, basically share their concerns. So it takes a lot of time to create that bond or to create that trust within them. So this is also one of the project where we have done community scorecard and social audit to understand community's need. And this is for the protection of child, POXO workshop. And also there is a girl, Tamaya. She was a special child, and she was not getting admission in the government school. And now we have Act Right to Education, which says that of course no one can disallow her. So we had worked on that. So these are some of the glimpses why I'm showing you, so that you will be able to connect or reconnect. Then anyone can take project on Anganwadi workers or Asha workers, domestic violence survivors. While I was working in DLSA for some time, while I was a student as well. So I got to understand what are the actual loopholes, why things are not moving in DLSA, and what is the recommendation that we all should be proposing, and how things will move faster. Um, Now the very important in the last slide, which is there, and which is an actual picture to show you the sense of belongingness. Because if I will not be able to make them understand, okay, I belong from your community, then they will also not invite me at all. So, or maybe they'll not be getting open up to to make me understand their issues or their concern, and accordingly we can work together. So that's all from my end. I'm very happy to listen to all of your views, thoughts, or any sort of questions. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your insightful lecture on community engagement and legal aid. We will now open the floor for questions. Participants have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask your questions. Also, I would request to keep your questions short and concise and relevant to the topic so that we can take as many questions as time within the time frame.
Participant, any question, query from your side, you can unmute yourself and ask, or you can put it in the chat box. You
Yeah.
can share your experience also if you want. Like we have Professor Ruby, madam. Madam, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay,
Good evening, sir.
okay, madam. Yeah. Good evening, good evening. So let me tell all participants again, repeating, madam is 76-year-old professional and having 50 years or more than 50 years of experience. So yes, over to you, madam. So she is a senior.
Thank
Yes,
you,
ma'am.
sir. Thank you. Good evening, ma'am. Yukti
Very
ma'am,
good evening, ma'am.
a very nice eye-opening this thing session and insightful, because it is must need of the hour for the coming up generation. So
Right.
see, we are working, I am working as legal aid counsel for last 15 years. And today I got appointment letter for a police choki. This is a new concept I will be sharing, that we have to be there at the police station for one full day and observe what police is doing, whether they are attending the clients or not, and what they are doing, whether denying, because there are a lot many complaints from the people, that general community, what you said, ki they are not aware. When they go to
Right.
police station, the police is not attending them. They come to
Right.
us and they say, please help us. So like that means now from today onwards, we have been appointed 150 lawyers, pro bono lawyers. They have been given all police stations. They'll be sitting there, observing them and helping the people if police is not helping.
Right.
So this is a new concept. And I hope everybody will come up with all this new concept and help the community.
Right.
Even after 75 years, we are still back there only as it is.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Ruby. Thank you so much for
Thank you, ma'am.
sharing your
Thank
thought. Yeah.
you, ma'am.
Uh, there's a question in the chat box from Mohammad Faisal. How we can approach particular legal aid like disability related issues?
Mhm. Okay, so basically, in the legal aid itself, there are certain categories that they have mentioned. If a person is disabled, or there's a woman, or like there are certain brackets. So within those brackets, you can actually go to any legal aid center, or you might not be knowing legal aid. If the community might not be knowing the legal aid center, then they can also refer to as the, sometimes they do refer as like ADR center for that matter. They can go there and there'll be a office. In the office only there will be a legal aid counsel or somebody to attend you. I'm giving you a very real information which will be happening, and then they will try to understand your issue, and if like you fall within that bracket, no matter what, like if you are a person with disability, or if you are a woman, or if your income is less than 3 lakhs, it totally depends from state wise now. So then you'll be fall within that bracket, and they'll be able to provide you a counsel for that matter. And they will of course be needing some documents from your side. I hope I have question
Ma'am,
like
I would
answered your
like to
question. Yeah.
add something more.
Yeah,
Ma'am, I would like to add something more with your permission, and
please do.
Kalpesh sir also. Ma'am, language barrier, as you said, na, I also learned 8 languages. Like
Right,
that,
right.
today I had a client who was Gujarati. So she
Okay.
was speaking to me in Gujarati. She must be around 60 years old or something. And
Right,
she had a problem and she was discussing in Gujarati. I could understand what she's saying. Then I
right.
answered her, helped her out, and gave her a date that she should come. And I will give her a proper lawyer who will be helping her in the next week time. Like
So
that
good
means
to
I
listen
also
to
learned
this.
so many languages like you. Because until unless you have the language, you can't understand.
Ma'am,
Otherwise, you can't help also community. You can't help.
yeah, yeah,
You need
right,
to know the language.
right.
Okay, there is
Thank you.
one question from Sakshi. I think she messaged me earlier and raised the same question. Like, let me brief in brief.
Sure.
Like when you go and feel very difficult to acceptance, they will accept, they will listen to you, they will won't reply.
Right.
So she has written like, ma'am, I go to legal clinic and also go to people's home to do service. Ma'am, those people say that I am not from here, neither is my case heard. So what is the benefit of us for this? So ma'am, how I help those people?
Can you please repeat the question?
Sir, yeah. So, ma'am, I go to legal aid, like clinic, and also go to people's home to do surveys. Ma'am, those
Right.
people say that I am not from here and neither is my case heard. So, what is the benefit of us for this particular thing? And ma'am, how I help those people?
Okay. Thank you for the question. First of all. Secondly, I would like to say, if you are a student, because I always take this approach, we have to be very cautious of the fact that we should not be giving any false information to any of the community member for that matter. So I always suggest, or I always do this with my students, that if you are going to the community and providing any legal assistance, first of all, you do not have the uh, full understanding of law, because again you are still learning, you are in that area where you are still doing undergraduation or post graduation for that matter. Then if you don't have those legalities in hand, then please go with the legal aid lawyer or somebody who is well trained enough to basically answer their queries or to take their concerns further. So you should not never be going alone, or you should never be having this notion, okay, I'll be able to provide them legal assistance, because these are not the areas where you can do experiment. These are not something like people, these are the real masses, real people, not any hypothetical situation has been given here. So yes, of course you can go and meet them, try to understand the issues and concern, but you should not be providing legal assistance on your own if you are not in a field, or maybe if you are not a trained lawyer for that matter. Yeah, I hope I have answered the question.
Ma'am, there is a question from Singham Setti Ramarao. He is
Okay.
asking he is asking about CSR, corporate social responsibility activities come under the purview of PIL or any other legal recourse to challenge mismanagement or other issues.
Right,
He is
right.
asking if
So,
it is true or not.
so it has varies level of this thing. CSR always play a very huge role, and PIL does that too. But again, both of the concepts are anyways be interrelated in some way or the other, but not actually, not ideally. Yeah.
Ma'am, Aditya Thakur is asking, our college legal aid cell is organizing a legal financial literacy camp in a nearby village. Can you suggest some ideas on what all he can do for it?
Okay. So while doing what camp are they doing? Legal?
Legal literacy camp, ma'am.
Legal
Financial.
literacy camp.
Financial, legal financial literacy camp. Financial,
Legal legal financial literacy camp they
Right.
are
yes,
doing.
yes.
So there could be ample amount of projects that they can take up. Maybe I'll not be able to suggest right now with regards to finances, specifically how they would want to deal with that specifically. But yes, there could be a project, a very good project. A handbook can be made with all the directories of the legal DLSA, SLSA, or maybe other institution who are working for this specific work of legal aid. Or the second project could be to make a handbook on all the legal aid schemes, uh, maybe state wise or maybe on a central level. So by doing that, how will it be helpful not just for us as an academician or a lawyer, but also you can translate that in the local language or maybe in the simplified version, but not basically leaving the essence of the legalities, and then try to give it to the community members at the same time and try to make awareness on those lines, so things might be becoming better. Yeah.
Okay, another question is this. Please give us tips on how to reach out to root level of giving education or awareness on human rights.
Okay. So on the root level, I would say for human rights specifically, first of all, read enough while before going to any of the camp or to any of the organizations. UDHR you can read, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and other specific provisions you have to read before going to the camp or to any of the event. And also I would say to provide them any sort of like understanding of human rights, the best way is to give them some picturization. Why I am saying this? Because they understand human rights on a very different level, or they might not be able to understand it. Tell them some case laws, case studies, use those case studies in your presentation or while speaking to some of the community members, to make them understand, okay, you have this law and now we have this, the law says this, we have this case study, this was a real case. Then you also make them understand how things can be becoming better. Because my concern or my issue is not to just raise or to flag, okay, this is not happening or this is not working. I'm also providing solutions to it, or maybe I'm trying to provide solutions to it. Even if we are not able to provide solutions sometimes, that is also all right, to address these issues which is very much important, and to go on the roots. Why I said, and one of the student also mentioned, so that we all should just stop. There is so much happening every day or in every month. Some scheme is getting launched, some report is coming, or maybe some new laws are getting built. But what about the old laws? What about the schemes which were already on place? Who is there to take a check and balance on that? So we have to be considerate of the fact that we should not be losing on the essence why we have started this. Our major aim and goal is to basically provide justice, access to justice for all. But what are we doing? All of us should be mindful of that. Yeah. Any further questions?
Okay, any last question, participant, before we wind out?
I have stopped earlier so that we can have a lot of discussion and questions. So if
Yeah, okay.
no, yeah.
Only
Sure,
one
sure.
Yeah, one
suggestion
question,
there.
Yuti.
We have to means be positive to work out all these things and help the people, the community, vulnerable people and all that. After 15 years, I have established myself today. Today I am happy. I am feeling that yes, I have achieved what I wanted. Yes, people are trusting me now. They are having faith that yes, she will do everything good for us.
Yeah,
And we have got
very
many, many success stories, Very, very many success stories we have, but we have not printed it out. It is just in my heart. We can't print
Yes.
out all such things, isn't
And
it?
like definitely, and the acceptance will take some time.
Yes,
Immediately we
yes,
say
yes.
okay, they'll start
Ah,
giving
ah.
welcome with flowers and okay,
Yes, those
aye, please come. So
and all those
those
things I
things won't
never take
happen.
also. I don't take one cup of tea also. I'm
Yeah, that's
that
fine.
person.
Definitely.
I
Sure,
don't
sure.
take.
So yeah,
So do you
I
One
want
think
to?
there are.
question I have,
Everything is full
in
of.
case if
This will be
we
last question. Yeah,
establish,
over to Hiravati. Yeah.
yeah,
Sure, sure,
in
sure.
case if we establish our own legal aid, like private legal aid, do government support us? Do they give any kind of grant or anything? Because what I see is there are colleges who give legal aid services, and when we approach them, the casual approach they have. So we are always dependent on them and their students. So every time when we go, they say a lot of negativity about like student nahi aate, they don't want to participate. So what can we do? We are here only just to, help. But if somebody is not coming, what can we do? So this is all like dependency happens, and when we really want to do something, it just cuts off our initiative and our motivation also. So when we do it ourselves, yeah, we will be doing more as a service to the society. But again, will the government support with any kind of funding or wherein we can reach out in a proper way? Is there any such kind of a thing? Basically, I'm from Bangalore.
All right, Hiravati ji, thank you so much for your question. So, while government supporting any individual person having in legal aid, I'm not sure of, but I know that there are certain guidelines provided by NALSA. On those guidelines and as per the BCI, law schools or the universities are only mandated to have legal aid set up, not just in the university, but we are also allowed to put the legal aid clinics in the villages also, like in the community itself. Plus, there are legal aid centers which we have discussed coming from the district legal service authority. So these are some 2 3 area where it is coming from the NALSA guidelines as well as coming from the BCI mandate. But there's no such compliance, or maybe there's no such rule which says an individual can operate or maybe can open their own legal aid. Because what will be your formation? First of all, you have to see that you will be complying by whom? BCI? No. Then NALSA? How? So all of these things are there. I guess if anybody else wants to add on to it, please feel free to do so. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Because I am a Rotarian, so I take up all these financial issues and we develop our area. We have given them drinking water and sanitation. There were no toilets, something like that. We have helped through Rotary. I have helped out. And we have developed a village also, which was having 750 villagers. They were not having school, no road, no water, no light, nothing was there. So we have decided to spend 5 crores, and
Yeah.
they are so happy now why we this school has been recognized by our state government, and they have appointed teachers who are well educated to give them training and all the school up. It is up to 5th standard. We have given them computer lab with full AC, and they can learn technology there, computer. That is how we are developing our areas, through Rotary and our own selfless services, and providing them legal aid. They are making them aware of that new schemes which have come up, launched by government.
Yes.
All these
And
things
you know,
we have on our own only. No
yes, yes.
funding is
Things
required.
are
We
going
put
on
it.
Hiravati rightly stated the financial issues are there. So
Ah,
like CSR fund can be utilized, NGO registered. So they also, for example, CSR they can spend their own, or they can
yes.
spend those money through NGOs. right? So that way you can source fund. Obviously, we have to give details in that, do legal aid activities. So community
Yes,
engagement
yes,
really, I keep
yes.
telling that I have interacted with people, various occasion. So before legal aid, community engagement comes. That, let me tell you, I was not also aware about. I didn't learn about legal service authority and forget about this community engagement. But again, I also using this thing, for last time 3 4 years, community engagement and in legal aid program, because that comes first. Legal aid comes later. Until we have to engage with people, have
See,
relation, they won't listen
yes,
to
sir.
us.
Yes, sir. CSR activities are different than legal aid.
Them
It
na
is totally
paise, the
yes.
issue is with
CSR
money.
में
So
वही है.
that way we can
CSR वाले
source.
पैसे देते हैं 20% they give, but then
Yeah,
it is for education. That is how we use that funds for the school. We
yeah,
develop with the
definitely. In that,
and
ma'am,
all that.
that can be like education,
Yes,
environment. That's part of community engagement. In that,
yes.
things can happen. And 2 weeks back, I
But
was at
along with
GNLU
that,
in
we
legal aid
develop
forum. So in
information.
GNLU, ma'am, Ruby, ma'am, once.
Yes.
So, GNLU Vice Chancellor also wrote written letter to Finance Ministry regarding CSR to include
जी.
Section 135 of Companies Act, Schedule 7 of Companies Act, right, 2013. There are list of activities. So he has written to Finance Ministry also. The things can happen in that way. So it can be included in that Schedule 7 of Companies Act. So
Right.
that means let's see. But again, we have to find out the way how we are doing
Yes.
activities. That's the thing. Wherever we are, that will
Yeah.
be there. But again, we have to see. So thank you very much, Yuvraj. Over to you. I'm giving you opportunity to give a word of thanks. Over to you.
Thank you, Kalpesh sir, Yukti ma'am, giving me opportunity to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We are deeply grateful for the insightful and thought-provoking lecture you delivered on community engagement and legal aid. Your expertise and passion for the subject have inspired us, and we appreciate the time you took to share your knowledge with us. We also thank you for graciously answering our questions and engaging with us during the question answer session. Also, I would like to thank Kalpesh sir and Hardik Parekh sir for organizing such session on practicality of law in real life, and to all the participants for making this session successful. Thank you once again, ma'am, and we wish you all the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you so much, Yuvraj, and thank you so much, Kalpesh ji and Adik sir. Thanks a lot for providing this opportunity once again, and I had a very good time speaking to all of you and knowing more. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your become a part, right? Again, this topic was not part of earlier three
Yeah, yeah, of
editions.
course.
So I requested you last year in fourth edition, fifth, and it
Right.
will be there in upcoming.
We'll be
Thank you.
continuing it. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank
Okay,
you so
thank
much.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Raj, and thank you, participant, for joining, and see you tomorrow.
Thank you.